And that's going to bring us to Crowdfunding Corner. And in Crowdfunding Corner, we go over board games that are in crowdfunding at the moment, and that usually that are ending in like the next, I don't know, 10 to 14 days. It's not always a perfect science, but I've chosen, how many is that? 7 games this week that I thought were worth taking a peek at. Okay, so the first one here is called Rumble Planet, and they're marketing it as a tactical battle royale game for 2 to 5 players. Weird miniatures. It's a game on Gamefound, which I feel like Gamefound especially is like a miniatures focused place. That has this weird boss expansion with this T-Rex with guns. Because if you're going to be in Fortnite, the board game, a T-Rex with guns can be too, you know.
100%.
Anyways, but in this game, you basically move a character along across a board, and you're picking up loot in these chests, and then you're equipping that loot to your character, but the loot slowly degrades over time, so you have to always keep moving to find new loot. And if you can get the high ground, you deal extra damage to the people you fight. You can't ever be like killed and knocked out of this game. Player elimination is usually something that board gamers don't like, because if the game lasts an hour and I have to wait 25 minutes for everyone else to finish, that's not a good feeling usually. So you can't be knocked out, but if you lose a combat, I think you lose some of your like equipment or things like that. You can also upgrade gear by fusing pieces of gear together. Very kind of I don't know, looks very unique and odd to me. I don't think it's a David game because I'm more of a Euro guy, but definitely unique. I thought the artwork was whimsical and quirky enough that it's kind of fun. But again, I don't think this is a David game per se. I do want to just click real quick and see if I can zoom out just a little bit. I feel like we're seeing a little too much at one time. Okay. Yeah, I don't know that there's much else to say here. You can get pre-printed, that's not the word, pre-painted miniatures if you want this stuff all painted for you, it looks like. And there are a few different tiers, I think, and they have 3D risers for those raised areas. And cool pieces with like, I like tracks that like are double layered and cool. But yeah, I think that's really it. Expansions, and let's click down here to the rewards period or section. I just want to see the different sections. So you got a $65 core pledge. That one I don't think has miniatures. Ooh. Core game, 5 challengers and 5. Oh, it does have 10 minis. Okay, so you actually get some minis in the core box. That's cool. And then there is the gameplay all-in for $95 that has the expansion and a couple extra boxes. And then the pre-painted all-in. So if you want a game like that, that is Rumble Planet. It's on Gamefound and that campaign ends on November the 8th. A lot of them end on November the 8th this week. So the next one, I think, will be right up Devin's alley.
Ooh.
We'll see if it will send over to the TV for us. It's called the Maniac, and it's also on Gamefound. And this one is a little quirky to me, but seems like it could be fun. It's basically a horror movie game for 1 to 6 players, where 6 different characters go to stay at this, I don't know, cabin in the woods. And you'll be like exploring this house, finding gear and stuff. But eventually one of the 6 players will stumble upon a cursed mask and become the villain or the killer for that game. So it's kind of a cool idea that you don't know which of the 6 is going to be. And then You can also play it solo and in a different variant where someone chooses to be the Maniac right from the beginning, but I think that standard mode sounds the most unique. Then the Maniac plays on their own board. I think it looked like a dry erase board where they're like writing where they are going in the house, and they keep that hidden from everyone so that you don't know where the Maniac is, but they also don't know, the Maniac doesn't know exactly where you are. They call it a double hidden movement mechanism, which is kind of cool. Hidden movement can be fun, where like I'm doing something and trying to hide from you, and you don't know on the board exactly where I am. I don't know how that works when you are putting miniatures on the board. And I looked through here, I couldn't find the rulebook or exactly where they explain that. They just mentioned double hidden mechanism, hidden movement mechanism. So anyways, and then you win as the Maniac if you kill all of the survivors. Again, player elimination is not a thing most people like. So if you are killed, then you come back as either the sheriff, who is called by one of the other survivors, and then you come back and play the sheriff trying to help out, or this other guy who's like a helper. Sheriff Loomis or Tommy. So even if you get killed, you're not out of the game, which is a good feeling. So they have a standard version and then version with the here's that Maniac board with the marker where they're marking where they're going. And then there is a big deluxe version that has like a raised house board and a 3D tower you can climb around to different sections and stuff. So if you like horror stuff and kind of hide and seek style games, that is what this one seems to be. So that is the Maniac. It's also on Gamefound and also ends on November 8th. Okay, next up we've got some on Kickstarter. This one is Harvest Fall Festival and the Golden Edition reprint. So Harvest came out earlier this year, and it's a farming game where you are kind of harvesting and growing crops and building buildings on your farms. It's a worker placement game where you have 3 workers each turn, and they can go to like the store to get new seeds, or go out and work in your plot to grow crops, or go buy buildings or excavate the forest. This is an expansion for that game. The expansion includes a new mini board that goes on the right side of the base game, and here are all the components for the expansion. So every player gets a 4th worker, and that worker is not a wheelbarrow shape, it's like a festival basket. And so only one of your 4 workers can go to the fall festival. You can only send your basket to the fall festival. You can't send a wheelbarrow to the fall festival. On the festival board, you can get some pies, and if you get, that's a set collection mechanism. If you get 5 different kinds of pies, you get 16 points. You can also get these novelties that give you like one bonus action. There's also 2 new asymmetric characters. That's one of the cool things about Harvest is there are, I think, 8 in the base game, 4 promo ones, so there's 12. And then this is going to add a couple new ones. So it has those cool Anna meeples as well. A couple new tiles for the solo mode and 13 new solo challenges. And then some other promos for, I think these are cardboard tiles that go on top of different locations on the board to change them. It's a mini expansion called Street Fair and some Halloween themed characters. So anyways, I think this one looks really cool, especially for the price point. A $19 expansion. That's pretty solid, in my opinion, since most of these crowdfunding campaigns we're looking at are like, okay, our game starts at 70, and if you want the nice version, it's 140. So that is Harvest. Also, they're reprinting the fancy version of the game. And where is that? Golden Edition returns. This version is a bigger box. It like has gold on the outside edge. It's $90. And the main thing that it does is it replaces these cardboard money tokens with coins, which look very cool. And it replaces the cardboard plants with wooden plant pieces, which again look very cool on your farm board, which is here. You're only seeing a portion of it. So I think Harvest is one of my favorite games that I've gotten this year. So this is one I would keep my eye on if I were you and you've been thinking about Harvest. It's kind of like a family weight worker placement game, but I would say it's a step above that in that you need to, it's tight, that you only have 3 workers and now 4 with this expansion each turn, so you can only do so many things, and you have to think about, how am I going to grow this plant, and if I grow it here, then I'll be able to kind of, you can water your plants and they'll spread out through your farm and stuff. So I don't know, it's a very, very cool game. So anyways, that is Harvest. Let me look up the end date here. That one is on Kickstarter and ends on also on November 8th, like all of the other ones here, basically. All right, next up is a game called Madcala. And I'll pull it up here on the screen momentarily. And this one is in the Wonderlands War universe, which is a big, much bigger game. This is a 2-player only game, kind of a riff on Mancala, where you pick up a bunch of marbles in Mancala and then drop off one along your way, and wherever you drop your last one, you get to do something at that spot. And so this one kind of uses that mechanism at this tea party with the Mad Hatter. You also get to play these other civilian cards in order to deal damage to your opponent. And I think the damage is kept track of on this cookie dial, so it's, you're stealing cookies instead of like blood and guts. But I really like the Alice in Wonderland theming that goes into these games. It comes with a neoprene playmat, which is very cool. I really appreciate those. And I think they even say in here that it fits in the box, which is also very cool. Nice cards. Comes with nice like poker chips instead of cardboard pieces for those. So it's a pretty, yeah, the playmat does fit right there in the box. Pretty deluxe looking game, and they only have one version. There's not like a, I don't know, an ultra deluxe or a base version. And if you back it, you also get this faction Caterpillar expansion for free. So anyways, that is Madcala. It has cool artwork. I think the artwork and the game were both designed by Manny Tremblay, who I really enjoy his games. Dice Throne is my favorite of his. And his artwork in Dice Throne and in here, like the artwork in this game is very cool. Has that same kind of Dice Throne vibe, just in Alice in Wonderland. So anyways, that is Madcala. I think that the game is like $40. I don't have links on the side for me to click on to go faster. $45 for the deluxe edition, plus whatever shipping is. Or you can do a group pledge if you want 6 of them. There you go.
Everyone wants 6 of those.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So anyways, that is Madcala. It is also on Kickstarter and is also ending on, can you guess what day, Devin?
Reiner Knizia.
Reiner Knizia, yep. No, on November the 8th. Just like the other like 7 games we just looked at. All right, this next one is probably the, I don't know if it's the smallest of the bunch, but I think it's the one of the more overlooked ones, but I thought it looked cool enough to bring up here. It is called Wish. And in this game you play as a genie, and you're moving around kind of this desert board while this caravan is going around, and you're trying to grant wishes to the different kind of travelers along the board. Kind of has a weird like art style and vibe, but I actually really enjoy it. It reminds me of the Micho's artwork. I wonder if it is by some chance. Let's see if it says. That would be cool if I just totally guessed that just by looking at it. But anyways, you move around and get these magic crystals, and then you use them on your player board to do different actions. Eventually you can take like this little blocker out of your middle action and upgrade your gin, and then you're completing people's wishes or these contracts on the board by using those crystals to can fulfill their wish, and then those people become like your followers. I think the card like slides on your board or something. That bottom section probably gives you some ability. And then you can build out some cool monuments on the board with those followers, and all of it kind of in a race to earn points. So it's a bit of like engine building. Your Jinn or your genie gets a little bit stronger as the game progresses. You're completing contracts to fulfill wishes, and yeah, and I don't know. I just kind of like the quirky art style, and I do think that the genies are acrylic standees. That's what it looks like. So if they're not acrylic, that would be like, seems like, whoa, get out of here, ad block. A little bit deceiving. So I don't know. I thought for a kind of unknown game, it kind of had a cool vibe. It's $49 for the core edition. And let's see if I can, there is also a solo mode and a team mode. And it's a pretty light game. They're saying it's not very lucky, but it's on the kind of family weight side. A bit more calm, not like in your face, and kind of fast paced. So anyways, there's the core pledge at $49. The Kickstarter pledge is $6 more. And I mean, that $6 is well spent, in my opinion, because it comes with the acrylic gins. So I guess they're not acrylic in that $6 cheaper version. And the player boards are double layered. And that is alone worth $6 to me. Double layered boards over flat ones all day, every day.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyways, that's Wish. Can you guess what day that one ends, Devin?
November 8th.
Let's take a peek because I don't remember. It ends on, yeah, if you couldn't guess, that is November the 8th.
Heck yeah.
And it's also on Kickstarter. Okay, next up, this one's actually, well, this one falls in the same category as the last one, where it seems like it's kind of a lesser known, overlooked game that might faceplant hard and not be very good, but it might surprise you.
Couldn't faceplant like Concord, dude.
Oh, burn. This one is called Treat, Please. And you are trying to spend a week in the lives of very good boys, very good dogs. It's a family-friendly hand builder, it says. 2 to 4 players, 30 to 60 minutes, ages 13 plus. And you're getting these bones, and then you're spending those bones in order to get new behavior cards for your dog. That might be perch on the sofa, or stare longingly at the fridge. Or groom yourself, scratch your head, stare out the window. I really like dogs, and we only have one little dog, but I think their vibe is just so funny. So games about dogs, just for some reason, get a little bit of like a boon from me. You can also collect their set collection in the game. If you get cards of the same color, I think they give you a bonus. And if you get the most affection from your owner at the end of 7 rounds or the week, then you win the game. What stood out to me about this game was cute artwork. Seems simple. Just a light card game. It's also a very low price point, $29 for the game. That doesn't include shipping, obviously. But man, that's like a very, very solid entry point. I think Flat Out Games is another publisher that tries to hit that $29 price point with their Kickstarter projects, and I think that has helped them a lot. So anyways, that is a Treat, Please. If you like dogs, or simple family weight card games, or possibly, both, then this one might be for you. That one ends on, Devin, can you guess the day?
November 8th.
That one doesn't. It ends on November 12th, so that was a little bit of a fake out there. But 4 days later, so you got till the 12th on that one. Okay, and then last up today is the newest expansion for Root. This is the Homeland expansion. We've known this one's been coming for a little while because they tweeted about the frogs and the bats. Root is one of my very favorite games. It's also one of the games that's hardest to get played because it's tough to teach. If you have most of the content It is a lot of boxes, and it's fairly complex. But man, what a cool game it is, and what a cool experience. So yeah, we knew about the bats and the frogs. So let's read a little bit about them. The expansion comes with, for $50, the Homeland characters here that we'll talk about in a minute, a new deck of cards, which will be the third. There's the base deck, then the Exiles deck, I forget what it's called, and then this new one is called the Squires and Disciples deck, so it plays a little different. And then the Hirelings pack for the new characters. I don't have the Hirelings en route. That's something I'm still thinking about getting. It's basically like, if I'm playing as one faction, I think, if I'm understanding correctly, I can hire some of the members of different factions to like help me. It's supposed to be like pretty good at lower player counts to make the board a little messier. I thought this was a really cool surprise. They most of their expansions have 2 factions. They mixed it up by throwing in a surprise faction that was not included on like the artwork, and it's the Knaves of the Deepwood. So
is that a skunk or a badger?
I think it's a skunk. We'll look in just a second. I also want to give a shout out to this in a second. So we'll read about the new content, then we're going to come back up to that pledge. So first up are the bats. They're the Twilight Council. Sickened by the enduring conflict, the Twilight Council hosts assemblies to end the war, bringing together all the woodland from the lowliest mouse in a sack to the mightiest hawk with a royal claim. The assemblies emphasize political connections over pure numbers of warriors, pushing the factions away from bloody battle and toward heated debate. As the council progresses in their mission, they can declare edicts to change how the assemblies work, manipulating their enemies' incentives and actions. Anyways, you seems like you're trying to stop fighting, but as the bats, but get into debates, which is very interesting. They seem very unique. Devin, I'm going to have you read this one. This is the lily pad diaspora. Is that how you would pronounce that word?
That's how I'm going to say it.
Cool.
Scattered long ago and suppressed ever since, the lily pad diaspora now hopes to call the woodland home. While they work to integrate peacefully, peace is rare in the midst of civil war. As they train their warriors, they must endure that their desire for safety does not tip into outright aggression. With weapons at the ready, a simple misunderstanding between the diaspora and the woodland can flare into vicious reprisals.
Yep.
Hardening the diaspora's militancy and spreading resentment against their cause.
Yeah, so it seems like they have like one of 2 sides. They either are peaceful or they're not, which is kind of interesting. They are also, I think, the only faction that adds a new suit of cards to the map. Because the cards are usually like orange, yellow, and red, which is like foxes, and there's 3 different symbols. But they add a new green suit of cards, which is interesting. And then this is the surprise one. The Knaves of the Deepwood. Nobody really knows how the Knaves of the Deepwood got together, but the myths are many. From the tree line, these miscreants and ne'er-do-wells sally forth, raiding barracks and baggage trains and making off with warriors in tow as hostages. Why? For ransom. That's why some say they give the proceeds to the needy, some say they spend it lavishly. Either way, their celebrations ring out through the night, the music swelling from the forest depths where few dare to go. So Robin Hood-like character. There's in base route, there's a character called the Vagabond that doesn't move along in the clearings and along the pathways. He hangs out in the forests. We were just talking about ironwood and the forests and the pathways. It's very similar to that. This one, you use 3 Vagabond character cards and 3 different meeples at once. And it will come with, I think, the skunk meeple as a new variant for the Vagabond. So this can't be played at the same time as the Vagabond, but it's like a new riff on the Vagabond with more pieces. And it seems cool. Your ability or your goal is to take hostages into the forest and ransom them, which is kind of funny. So I think all 3 of those factions sound really cool. The expansion also comes with 2 new maps. The Marsh map, which can be changed in size. You can play it with 12 clearings like standard or make it larger to support games with more than 5 players. The Gorge map has wild geography, creating natural choke points. And then the Homeland Hirelings pack, and then that new deck of cards. They also have a bunch of add-ons if you want a plushie for the Erie Dynasty. And I thought this was a cool add-on, actually. Those faction boards are like 2mm cardboard. You can get them in cardstock for the full set, which it says it will save you 15mm of space in the box. Fitting Root and its expansions in as few boxes as possible is one of like the trickiest things in the world. So that's a cool idea there. Root's one of my favorite games. Very pumped about this. You probably saw at the top of the page, I've already backed this one. I do want to give a shout out to one cool thing. I think Leader Games is really awesome. And this $150 pledge is very cool. If you're just getting into Root, this $150 pledge gives you, reading here, get everything from the $50 pledge level. So you get this entire expansion with both the boards, the 3 factions, the Hirelings pack, and the new deck. And you get $150 in credit that you will use later in the pledge manager to choose what other things you want. You could get the base game, expansions, accessories. So you basically have $150 to use, and you get the $50 expansion for free.
Yeah, it's like you're spending $100
to get $150 in credit, and you're getting the new expansion.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're really into the game, do that.
Yeah, or if you don't have anything related, and you don't mind waiting a year until this comes out, then yeah, for that $150, you could get, I think they have like a list here of, you could get the base game and 1, 2, 3. I mean, you could get the base game and all 3 expansions would be not $150. Never mind. You could get the base game and 2 of the other expansions, or maybe you already have some piece of it. I think that's a cool thing. You can mix and match. Like maybe I already have the base game, but I missed a couple of the other expansions, and so you can use that $150 to get the couple you're missing, add on some of these other things. Of all of these things here, I have base game, Riverfolk, Underworld, Marauder. I don't have Hirelings, so I don't have those 3. I will have Homeland and this Homeland Hirelings when they come. And then I do have the Vagabond pack, the Exiles and Partisans deck, and I will have this when it comes. And I don't have the Landlords pack. Anyways, so very cool. I don't know what else to say about it other than Root is awesome if you're ready to learn a hard, tricky game that it's hard to teach to new people. You almost need like people that you can teach the game once and then will be excited about it to like learn the other factions themselves. Or you could spend like $10, buy them the digital version of Root on Steam or iOS, and have them play that as practice, because it will teach them the game pretty well on there. But that is Root, and that is the last of the 7 games that we're going to go over here in Crowdfunding Corner. Which brings us, Devin, to pick of the week. Of those 7 games, which one is going to be Devin's pick of the week?
I think number 1 has to be the Root expansion, just because the game is just crazy. Unique art style. It's beautiful, and they chose frogs and bats, which are absolutely amazing. Mm-hmm. But if we lean away from that, I think that I don't know that I would love the play style or the mechanics for this game, but Madcala seemed interesting to me.
Yeah, I also think that one seems really cool. It's not going to be my pick of the week, but let me I'll just type it in here for a little speed here. Madcala. I think Madcala does look very cool. I like 2-player games that were built specifically to be 2-player games. I think that works really well. Love the art style and the vibe. And even though this one's a little more expensive for a 2-player game, $45 plus whatever shipping is going to be, it's pretty deluxeified. You got a neoprene playmat instead of a board, nice card quality, poker chips that are actually like big and plastic or whatever material those are made out of.
If nothing else, it's pretty.
It's very pretty. Nice custom insert.
Hopefully it plays well.
Yeah. I like Manny Tremblay's designs usually, so I imagine it's not bad. But if it will be amazing is, I guess, the question. My pick of the week, again, definitely would be Root. Already backing it. But just to not give Root all of the love, is going to go to Harvest Fall Festival. Like I mentioned earlier, Harvest is one of my favorite games this year. I think it's a great, like, medium light-ish, somewhere in there, weight worker placement game that has just enough twists on, like, farming and growing crops that's really fun. And the price for this expansion is just, I feel like, very, very friendly at $19. It also includes some extra stuff. And I think if you back in the first 48 hours, they also give you $5 off the shipping cost. At least that's what the email said, I believe. So, which they use as like a perk to help their first few days like be better, because that can dictate a lot in crowdfunding. But it feels pretty good if you're getting expansion for $19 and getting $5 off of whatever shipping is going to be. So Harvest, I think, is a great game, and it's going to be my pick of the week here. And that is going to do it for Crowdfunding Corner for, I think it's going to be November 1st is when this goes up. So thank you so much for watching this Crowdfunding Corner. Thank you so much for watching this video. As most of you know, gaming top-down is an independent endeavor. I don't accept money from publishers for previews or opinion-related content. But there are a few ways that you can support the channel and help me keep the lights on. Liking this video and subscribing to the channel helps me to grow. If you're thinking of getting a game that I covered in this video, please click the affiliate link in the description of this video. It helps to support me and doesn't add any cost to your purchase. I also do a weekly gaming podcast where I talk about the board games that I'm playing along with my brother. You can check that out on Apple's podcasts and on Spotify. And you can also get that podcast 3 days early over on our Patreon. You can follow the Patreon at patreon.com/supergamebrothers completely for free. But if you do support us over there, you get some extra perks, like being able to write into the show, getting early access to the show, voting on the games that I'm going to cover and review, and lots of other fun stuff. Thanks so much for your support, for liking and commenting on my videos. You really are what helped keep the lights on for me. Thank you.